Hello everyone, this is Chase the Channel. My name is Kirill and we talk about watches here. The novelty of 2023, the new Mudman. A redesigned look reportedly inspired by professional hiking gear. Well, let's take a look at the GW-9500-1E and you can purchase this watch at my store chasetheclub.com. We have a wide selection of G-SHOCKs at some of the lowest prices online. All links will be in the description. An unusual perception of the model. Although it seems, for example, in terms of the case, there are many similar features we have seen before. A bunch of protrusions, aggressive large metal buttons on the left, and 4 buttons made of polymer material on the right and bottom. And as you can see, around these buttons are metal rims, so-called protective edges, which additionally protect against dirt and dust. After all, it's Mudman. We see the inscription mud resist. We see the famous mole on the back cover. This tells us that the watch is specially made for such hiking conditions where it's not sunshine and sand, but dirt, dust, and puddles. Well, and on the back, of course, we see information about the water resistance of 20 atmospheres and about the carbon core guard. Inside here is a carbon core, which additionally, of course, protects the mechanism. And the polymer material, the one on top, is the so-called biopolymer. Well, we've already gotten used to it. It's the one made from renewable organic sources. Regarding the case, I would also note the flat glass. It's mineral, yes, unfortunately not sapphire, but it is protected by these protrusions and it is specially beveled, ground at its edges to reduce the thickness of the case. In general, the designers approached this model very interestingly. Not only were they supposedly impressed by professional equipment, but they also worked on the glass, which allowed them to reduce the thickness, although I wouldn't say the watch is exactly thin. Well, we'll move on to the dimensions later. And precisely at an angle, for example, you can clearly notice the lines radiating from the center of the dial. Of course, this scene is familiar to us from the ProTrek models, and for the first time in G-SHOCK, a dual LCD display appears, the so-called duplex LCD. If below we have the month, date, time, and seconds displayed, then above there will be a compass. This is how it looks. We switch to the compass, and these 3 lines emanating from the center are probably sectors rather than lines. They point to the North Magnetic Pole. And this, of course, we saw in the 240 ProTreks, and not only in them. In general, here, of course, the ProTrek vibe is clearly visible to the naked eye, because here, of course, the designers at Casio were inspired by the tourist line, that's for sure. Barometer with thermometer, altimeter. Yes, actually, the functionality here in fact doesn't present any surprises for us because it's all ProTrek. And sunrise, sunset and altimeter recording, convenient when climbing a mountain, and a stopwatch with 0.1 second accuracy and measurement up to 1000 hours, and reset on the upper right, and a 24-hour timer. And alarms, 4 regular, 1 with time delay. And world time and radio calibration. Yes, here Multiband 6 is present, receiving a signal from one of the 6 towers. The functionality reminded me exactly of the PRW 3500 model. No differences. And Multiband 6 was there too, and function for function, all the same. Therefore, these watches can be considered just like a G-SHOCK ProTrek. That is, finally hiking watches have received shock resistance and real protection against environmental impacts. Of course, the solar battery powers all of this. The charge level is at the bottom. 6 months of autonomy, 26 months in energy saving mode. So here we can also change the screen display from the date to pressure change graphics or the day of the week and date. But the backlight is very bright, it even overexposes the camera, but everything is so bright here that there are no problems in the dark. Auto power on is also available, meaning you can activate it and the backlight turns on without pressing buttons when tilted. No matter how they trim the glass there, these watches are still too big for me, of course. My wrist circumference is 16.5 centimeters, and here I can confidently say that it's better to consider this model starting from about 18 centimeters, because for a smaller wrist it is too large. The height from lug to lug is 56.7 millimeters. Well, that's considerable. Width is 52.7 millimeters, thickness is 14.8 millimeters. Seemingly, by the numbers, 14.8 millimeters is not such a large thickness, but visually they look quite enormous. And the strap classically is made from the same material as the case, double holes. But by the way, credit where it's due, it is extremely pleasant. Here is such a rough texture, feels great to the touch. And double holes. Here for wrists from 14.5, I don't know at all who with such wrists will wear this model, to 22.5 centimeters. Here I think it will be more acceptable for larger hands. By the way, the total weight is small, 81 grams. Well, obviously carbon, polymer material, almost no steel, with a small exception, so the watch is very light. And undoubtedly, it's for outdoor adventures, outdoor model, perfect for tourism, mountain climbing, hiking, traveling, and sports. For swimming. Why not? As always, G-SHOCK's reliability, ProTrack's functionality, a mix that many have been waiting for. Well, I think it will fit into the urban environment too, especially on a bare wrist, so it will be more optimal in the summer period. In conclusion, what can I say? Well, first of all, the series release is justified because the Mudman series rarely pleases us with new items, and the old legendary models, although popular, needed updating. This is the G-9300. Yes, they certainly have an excellent design, but there is no Multiband 6, no altimeter, no barometer. Well, in general, a somewhat reduced functionality compared to today. And the G9000, a compact option with stiff buttons and naturally also not such a wide functionality. Here we have confirmation that watches resistant to dust and dirt must have a complete set of tourist functions. And Casio provided us with this so-called mix of ProTrack and G-SHOCK. I will note, undoubtedly, it's still reliability and durability. When you hold them, even though they're lightweight, you still get the sense that nothing can harm these watches. The buttons are even more protected. Plus, they have additional gaskets there. In general, everything is made to ensure they serve you for a very, very long time. The only thing I would like to note is the font. Well, you know, it's like they took a dial from a completely different brand and attached it to Casio. It's absolutely not a G-SHOCK, not a Casio font. It's kind of foreign, I can't explain it. Overall, I still haven't gotten used to it. But on the other hand, it's the only white dial in the series. The other two are inverse. These are dark green and a version with orange elements. By the way, all three models are available in our store chasterclub.com. And it's a great opportunity not to buy G-SHOCK and ProTrack separately, but to acquire two in one. At the end, I would like to know your opinion about this model. Be sure to leave it in the comments below the video. And if you liked it, please like and subscribe to the channel. That's all. Goodbye, everyone.